enough experience, you can do that. Like if you're an up-and-comer, you gotta pay your dues. But I think once you get a certain level, you can do that.
You most certainly have to get accustomed to getting hit.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know if it's for you.
Yeah.
And see, that's where I'm at. I'd love to get your opinion on this with like the Jake Paul and Ben Askren.
Okay, this is my...
Because I take some offense to it because all my friends, when that got announced, went, oh, Ben's getting knocked out. And I was like, what? Like, that's weird to say, because let's say you don't know who Jake Paul is. I'll give you the resume. Let me go through the resumes.
Okay.
Let's go through this kid, fighter A.
Mm-hmm.
He was an Olympian wrestler.
Yes.
He was a two-time national champion wrestler. He won the Heisman in college Division I wrestling.
Hold on, are they wrestling?
They're not wrestling. Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Okay. So that fighter A that has all those wrestling accolades,
yes.
He's a Hall of Famer. So he fought in a steel cage and won championship, big organization.
Yeah.
He was world champion there.
Was he a striker?
He wasn't, but he still won.
Oh, did
good question,
striking at all?
No, good question.
He didn't really stand up much, right?
Not a lot, but I'm glad you asked that because then he went over to Bellator.
Right.
Second biggest organization in the world. He fought the guy he loved, Douglas Lima.
Yes.
5 rounds, didn't get knocked out.
Yes, but he just wrestled him.
Yeah,
right?
But still didn't get knocked out.
And Koreshkov, another killer.
A killer, right?
Ragdolled him.
Killer.
Yeah, but he didn't strike with him at all,
but
right?
didn't get knocked out.
Right.
And they're fourth clubs. So, yeah, two-time world champion in different divisions. And then he goes to UFC.
Well, he went to ONE FC before that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he was champ in both those.
Right, but he went to champ in ONE FC as well.
Yep.
Where they allowed him to take guys down and knee him in the face.
For sure. Didn't get knocked out there. Undefeated.
Also took guys down and didn't stand up with anybody.
These are great points. So then he goes over. He goes over to the UFC. He goes over to the UFC, fights a guy in Robbie Lawler.
Yes.
Tough character.
Yeah.
Beat him. Didn't get knocked out.
Controversial beating.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I feel like Robbie got fucked.
But then he fought Jorge Masvidal and got starched.
Yeah.
But there's this narrative on Fighter A, aka Ben Askren, where he awful striking and he did get knocked out by Jorge. I get all that. You're talking about an Olympian, a bona fide Hall of Famer mixed martial artist.
Yes.
That mentality. Now all right. That meant so there's Fighter A. Let me give you Fighter B that we don't know about. Fighter B.
YouTube star,
did some wrestling in high school, says he ran a 4.440. I'm not calling Jake Paul a liar, but I am saying his gym coach who timed that is a liar, okay? That never happened. I've been around the game a long time. A 4.4 is very highly unlikely.
Okay.
His gym coach lied to him. But also, he's 2-0 and you say, well, who did he beat up? Well, he beat up another YouTuber, and they beat up a basketball player that won a slam dunk contest who has never fought before. Yeah. Who would you pick it?
Well, one thing that I don't believe is that Ben Askren would knock out Nate Robinson the way that Jake Paul did.
He would beat him.
He might beat him.
Guarantee you beat him.
He might beat him. He might. Ben is not an explosive guy.
Not at all.
He's very good at utilizing his superior wrestling knowledge, positions, and technique.
Wearing you out, annoying,
he's
heavy,
strong
great cardio,
as fuck.
Terrible body.
He knows. do. You just got to stay on the path and don't ever let yourself get off of it. You know, it seems so easy to let things slip a little bit, relax a little here, relax a little there, but there's certain paths that you really should never get off. And the path of the first of all, of being connected to the moment. That's so important. And one of the things about people throwing a bunch of things in their lives and problems in their lives is it keeps you from being connected to the moment. When you have all these distractions and problems and issues that keep coming up, that's why I get weirded out by people that always have problems. And that's why I was saying, like, do you think that these problems, you're creating some of these problems, whether you realize it or not, you know?
Right.
You see it with fighters.
Yeah.
You know, and you really see it with fighters when they start to lose.
Ooh,
sometimes
yeah.
they get in this
They don't stop.
fucking spiral, this head spiral, and they're never the same again. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes fighters will lose one, like Anderson Silva, right? He's the baddest motherfucker on earth. He loses one fight to Chris Weidman, clowning around, right? He gets KO'd in a way where everybody's mocking him and making fun of him, and literally doesn't win any fights after that. Won one decision to Derek Brunson for years and years and years. It's crazy.
Do you
It
think?
just happens like that.
Do you think that could possibly be what happens to Connor, or no? I was with his brother, and the celebration we had.
Dustin's brother.
Yeah, Dustin's brother. Sorry, Dustin's
Yeah.
brother Jimmy. And I was in Lafayette with the whole family and went out on the swamps during the day and went wild oyster mushroom hunting and grilled those up and ate them.
Dustin is a different person.
Yeah.
He's a different person than he was when they first fought. Connor's a different person too, but I don't think he's the same animal that he was back then. You know? And also their strategies are different. Like, someone could say, like, oh, it's tough to be a savage and you're waking up in silk sheets. Yeah, he fought well in the beginning.
He did, the first
He
round.
fought well. He landed good shots, and Dustin admitted there was one time where he was caught. And he was in a little bit of trouble.
Right.
But the strategy of those low kicks, Connor has that wide stance, and he puts a lot of weight on that front leg. And he did not seem to have an answer for those low kicks. And that is just a fucking new element of the game that seems unstoppable because you can only take a couple. You know, Khabib was saying that when he fought Justin Gaethje, that those low kicks were as hard as he'd ever been hit before. And he, you know, even he probably recognized he couldn't take too many of those.
I told Jimmy, Dustin's brother, after the first round, I go, he just gave it away to Dustin and to Mike Brown. They're going to stay on that calf kick. They already knew it was working, but he didn't sit down in between rounds. He didn't want it to fill back up.
Yeah.
And then
I noticed he didn't sit down either.
He didn't sit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
damaged.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
damaged. He just gave it away. Keep going after that leg.
Well, it was obvious anyway. I mean, he kept trying to grab the leg after he got kicked. He wasn't checking it. And when he was checking, he wasn't turning it out.
Right.
So he was still taking it on the meat of the leg. So even if you lift your leg up, if you're checking those low
Right.
calf kicks,
Still hitting
they're
right.
still hitting the meat.
Yep.
It's a fucking terrible way to go.
Yeah,
Because your nerves just shut down.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those before, and they're brutal. And I'm curious because I've been talking with some of Manny's team who's donating to us, and some of his closest guys is executive director, and they're like, man, they were really looking forward to maybe the Manny fight and the Conor McGregor fight happening.
That's it.
But now they said that his stocks come down a lot in boxing after being knocked out by Dustin. But then John Kavanaugh saying, well, if they don't get the rematch with Dustin Poirier, then he's just going to go over and fight in boxing now.
No.
But I was thinking, coming off of that loss, I don't think that John Kavanaugh is being smart there with saying he's going straight into boxing.
Which is not going to get the fight.
Right.
It's not going to be valuable.
Right.
It's not like it was before. With Conor, if Conor wanted to take that fight before he fought Dustin Poirier, it'd be worth a lot of money. After he knocked out Cowboy, it's a valuable fight.
Yeah.
But coming off a bad loss like that, and the loss where he got KO'd, no, it's not. That fight's not happening. It's also like he needs a redemption. And here's the thing about
This is the first time he's
getting
been
a redemption.
knocked out, right?
Yes.
Like actually knocked out.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, in the UFC.
Right.
But he needs a redemption. Like, And the actual redemption versus Dustin, you can't make a real good argument for it. Like, you can't make a real good argument for a third fight. Because, first of all, there's great fights for Dustin, right? There's a rematch with Justin Gaethje, which was a much closer fight. And that was when Justin Gaethje was fighting in a different way. Justin Gaethje was fighting much more reckless, right? There's the fight. I mean, this the Chandler fight, which they're trying to push for right away, which it's tough to make that argument when, you know, you've got Charles Oliveira, who I think is maybe the most talented guy in the division. Charles Oliveira might beat them all. I mean, Oliveira really versus, good. If you wanted to be a purist, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin is the fight to make. Because you got Oliveira, who just destroyed Tony Ferguson. And then you got Dustin, who just destroyed Conor McGregor. That's the fight. Let's have that fight for the interim belt, or for the new belt. Because if Khabib really does decide that's a wrap, you know, maybe he is deciding that's a wrap. Maybe, you know, Dana said that he wasn't sure, that he needed to see something spectacular, but Khabib said, no, that's not what I said, I'm done. Yeah. So I think Khabib's probably done.
Yeah, I would be really happy to watch Dustin and Gaethje again, just because both of them are big supporters of Fight for the Free Athlete. I was so good.
I know. How do you do it whenever you're friends with